Chairman Greg Meeks, for your bipartisan leadership. Mr. Secretary, sadly, American media of the left have become a propaganda arm of Hamas terrorists. Sickening proof is the front page of the New York Times 10 days ago, May 28th, picturing 64 dead children of Gaza and Israel, ignoring total Hamas responsibility. But for the 4,500 rocket attacks by Hamas war criminals of Iranian missiles targeting Israeli families, no child would be dead. But for Hamas using children as human shields, no child would be dead. The photo display is a disgusting smear of Israel and the people of Israel. What is your view of the American media coverage? What can the State Department do to provide for the truth of unprovoked rocket attacks on families by Hamas with Iranian rockets?
Thank you. I guess the first thing I'd say is that in my position, the one thing I don't do is politics. I'll focus on the policy, and so I'll leave it to others to do the politics. Second, to the point that you've made about Hamas, it would be unacceptable for any country to have rockets rain down on it, indiscriminately targeting civilians, and not do something about it. And as you know, we strongly supported Israel's right to defend itself, to defend its people against these indiscriminate rocket attacks. As a democracy, Israel also has an extra burden to do everything it possibly can to avoid civilian casualties. And I have to tell you, I think we're all, and irrespective of politics, we also can't lose sight of the fact that lives were lost on both sides in this most recent conflict,
Mr. Secretary, respectfully, this would have not occurred if there hadn't been rocket attacks. This was not just an incidental occurrence. The rocket attacks were the sole cause of the death of these children, and it's not politics. As a former journalist myself, I'm just shocked that we would have American media be so complicit in promoting a false narrative that Hamas is not totally responsible. And you can only make so many, and I've been to Israel to see mothers there protecting their children. It's just horrifying. And so we need to be specific and go after the war criminals. Congressman Sherman was correct. And on another issue, in regard to the Iranian nuclear deal, there's an effort to resume that, but there's no mention of addressing their Iranian efforts of ballistic missile capabilities. There's only one reason for ballistic missile capabilities is provide a nuclear attack against the people of America to promote their view, death to America, death to Israel. Why is there no effort to include a bar against continuing development of intercontinental ballistic missiles?
There are multiple egregious activities that Iran is engaged in, including missile activity, proliferation, support for proxy groups, terrorism, destabilizing actions. Each and every one would be even worse if Iran had a nuclear weapon or was on the threshold of being able to have one. It would be able to act with even greater impunity. So the first urgent thing that we need to do, if we can, is to try to put the nuclear problem back in the box that it was in under the agreement, and unfortunately, it has now gotten out of. That takes away, and not in the least, from our ability and determination to deal with these other actions that Iran is engaged in, including the ones you rightly point to with regard to missiles.
But their actions clearly indicating they're not serious. Okay, they're developing missiles to deliver what they plan to do in the future. Additionally, there's no provision to stop regional instability by providing the rockets to Hamas and Hezbollah to attack Israel, by providing the rockets to the Houthis to attack Saudi Arabia. Beginning with the Beirut bombing, killing hundreds of Americans, the IEDs killing hundreds of Americans in Iraq. Why is there no reference to blocking the instability which Iran is promoting throughout the region?
Congressman, there are constant references to it, and not only references, efforts and actions taken to stop it, curb it, deal with it. But at the same time, We have a nuclear program that was in a box that is now escaping from the box. Each and every single one of those activities is going to be even worse if Iran has a nuclear weapon or has the ability to produce one on very short order. So none of these things are not inconsistent. We are working both to deal with the nuclear program and to combat Iran's other actions in these other areas. We're committed to doing both.
But they're acting in good faith. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I now recognize Representative